I mean, the one thing about what our family does, starting the distribution business as Saraspe Seafoods, is, you know, there's something to be said about getting a product that was at the bottom of the ocean earlier this morning and then on a plate that afternoon.
That's traditional. That's any rock.
My grandpa started fishing lobster back when he was about 16, and he quit fishing lobster in San Diego at the age of 83. That was a couple years back, and since then you can't get him off the boat. He still goes out with my dad. We are a sustainable seafood company specializing specifically in local products caught by my family, and we're able to provide a product that literally my dad wakes up in the morning, 5 a.m., he's fishing, he's catching fish from the bottom of the ocean, he's bringing it in by 2, 3 in the afternoon, and we're getting it onto people's plates. My name's Tanner Saraspe. I'm the owner and founder of Saraspe Seafoods. Today we're gonna do LAURO'S Cioppino. We're excited to share this recipe with the world. This recipe's been in our family for several generations, and we finally got the chance to get Grandpa to put pen to paper on the start to finish of this recipe. So we incorporated mussels, clams, California spiny lobster that my dad actually caught this morning, and we used a pink grouper. We recommend using a whole fish, about a 2 to 3 pound fish. I'd say probably a sculpin, rockfish, or grouper would work great for this recipe. We're gonna start with a heavy bottom pot or a Dutch oven. We have 2 tablespoons of olive oil here. And after the olive oil, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter. This is my cousin Nicole. This is a full family recipe, so it's so great to include the entire family in on this, Grandpa and Nicole included. We're gonna put slices from 1 onion in the pan with the oil and the butter. We're going to season with a little bit of salt and pepper. We're going to cook these onions for about 4 minutes until they're soft and translucent. Next, we're going to stir in the minced garlic. And then we're going to cook for another minute or 2, taking care not to burn the garlic. And we're going to put 2 bay leaves on the bottom. We're gonna grab the carcass of the grouper and we're gonna put it on top of the bay leaves. Resting these on top of the bay leaves. We're gonna do both the carcass and the head. And the head of the grouper is gonna go right here. So we just set the whole fish in the pan along with the bay leaves and the water and the onions, and we're gonna bring to just a bare boil before reducing to a simmer. Skimming any scum that rises to the surface of the pot. We're gonna leave the stock to simmer for 20 to 25 minutes. After cutting the carrots into 1/2-inch pieces, we're also gonna cut the celery into 1/2-inch pieces. You want them all to be about the same size. That way they'll cook evenly. You can use the end of the celery piece and you can put it in the stock while you're prepping the rest of the vegetables. We're gonna quarter these potatoes. You know, you want them about the same size. I mean, think about it this way. What do you want in a bite-sized piece? We're gonna flip the fish delicately just to make sure that all the juices from the carcass, the head, gets into the stock. You know, you wanna take a peek at the meat on the fish. You wanna see here that on the carcass you can see that the meat's pretty flaky. You know, it's becoming a bit more opaque and it's slowly falling off the bone and into the soup stock. You also want to make sure the meat comes off the collars, which that'll happen with time as you continue to cook it. Remove the entire carcass because you don't want to bite into that when you're having soup. It comes out so easily. It's so easy to pick it out of this recipe. Next step, we're going to add the vegetables in. This is crushed tomatoes. You can use canned tomatoes, you can use crushed tomatoes. We're gonna give it a good stir. We're gonna continue to build the flavor as we go, so you're gonna wanna continue to salt and add some pepper along the way. The next step for this recipe is removing the tail from the head. I like to use 2 kitchen towels. You're gonna put one hand, your non-dominant hand on the head, and then you're gonna use your right hand, which in my case is my dominant hand, on the tail. You're gonna get a good grip here and you're gonna give it a quick twist. So here we have the head and the tail. So here's a little secret not a lot of people know. You want to remove the gut line from the tail of the lobster. So what you're going to do is you're going to break a piece of the antenna off here. See, I gave myself about 2 inches because you want it to be small enough to fit in the hole right here. You're going to give it a quick twist right here and the gut should come out in one smooth motion. So the vegetables you're going to let cook for another 10 minutes until they're soft. And right about at that time, 10 minutes from now, you're going to add the lobster, both the head and the tail, which we're gonna quarter and then add to the soup. You know, adding in components like the legs of the lobster, might not be a ton of meat in here, but it's so worth it with the flavor. You have to include the entire lobster in here. So you can also add octopus, you could add squid to this recipe. You want to shy away from any red meat tuna, but anything like white flaky meat is a great addition to this recipe. And then the last step after an additional 10 minutes is you're going to add the shellfish. And so you're going to cook those for about 5-6 minutes just until they open. So we're choosing to use the grouper meat in this recipe because we scaled the skin. So there's no scales on the back here. We're going to keep the skin because it adds so much flavor to the meat. Okay, we're gonna chunk this up so we can put it inside the Cioppino. When you're thinking about the size of these pieces, you just wanna make sure, you want them to be bite-sized pieces. Any of these clams or mussels that are open prior to cooking, you wanna discard. And after cooking, anything that doesn't open up after 5-6 minutes, you're gonna also wanna discard.